going on YouTube? Prepared Wander out in the woods today, and today we're going to be talking about the ESEE Laser Strike and this kit that I put together utilizing the accessory pouch that I put on the sheath and adding a ferro rod to it and turning this into a really decent fire making kit that rides on your knife. So we're going to take a look at this. Stick around, it's going to be cool. Okay, if you guys watch the channel, you probably know that I love ESEE knives. They make such a superior product for what I would consider a production knife. And production meaning that they're made in mass. They're not custom, but they are very close to custom quality. If not the same. I mean, their knives are just phenomenal. They're just really well built. And we're looking at the ESEE Laser Strike. You know, this is a new knife for me. I've run through most of the ESEE knives. I've had the Azula 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the Junglist. I've had all those. And this is kind of my first time working with the Laser Strike, and I picked this up on the secondary market. And what's interesting about this particular knife is that this does not have the factory scales on it. This has the aftermarket scales that you get from Knife Connection, which actually is a phenomenal product in itself and adds a lot more comfort to the Laser Strike. Now, I did a video not that long ago of my ESEE collection, and I talked about handles and the different types of handle materials, aftermarket, and the ones that come with the knives. And I talked about the Knife Connection and the handles that they're producing for the line of ESEE knives, and this is one of them. And what it does is, and I think you can tell by looking at this, it really adds more of a swell to the handle, so it makes it very comfortable. But what we're going to talk about really not so much is the handle or the overall ergonomics of the knife. What I want to talk about is really this cool kit that you can put together for your ESEE knife, either your Laser Strike or other knives. Now, the Laser Strike comes with a Kydex sheath with this clip plate that attaches to your belt. Pretty standard for them for this model, but you can add this additional accessory pouch to the front of it, and then from the Knife Connection you can get a ferro rod holder, and that will also connect to the sheath. So now you have more than just a standard knife, you have a system. And that's what's so cool about this. This is something that can supplement care of your needs for a fire kit. Now, I know a lot of people might use this pouch to put a tin into it and do a survival tin. I've kind of talked about that a little bit. I'm not a big fan of those. They're pretty small. You end up scaling down a lot of survival needs into very tiny little pieces, and it's not really something that's going to take you very far. But with a fixed blade knife and a tin, you can create a really nice fire kit. And that's kind of what I've done with this. And I wanted to show this to you in today's video and kind of talk about what I did with this thing. So what we have here is a very standard Altoids tin. This one has been used in the fire quite a bit. I use this as a means of charring natural material and also charring char cloth. Use some inner tube bands to hold that together, and that's also a fire starting component right there. And then what I've done in here is I've added some items that are going to help me get a fire going. So we've got some Tinder Quicks, which are a little cotton plug that you would take apart and fluff up. I've got these really cool fire starters. These are called Zombie Eyes. They are wax candle kind of thing with some resin in them and a wick, so you can take these apart and start a fire with them. Of course, I've got the mini Bic, always a good thing to have. And then from another company that I've worked with in the past is Black and White Fire Starter. They make some really cool fire starting products, and this is kind of similar to fat wood, but it's a man-made material. So it's a piece of wood that's been kind of impregnated with some type of accelerant or whatever you want to call it, and this helps. You can shave this down. This will help get a fire going. So I've got a little bit of everything in here to help me get a fire going, and that all fits in this tin. And then of course, with my ferro rod, that is another means of starting a fire and getting that tinder going. So let's get this thing out and play with it a little bit and see if we can get something going. That wood's kind of punky. It's been a wet, cold winter here in Ohio, and finding available wood in this area that I'm in right now that's not too punky is kind of hard to find, but I managed to find something that's semi hard. It's not too bad. We'll strip off and bark here a little bit. See what we got to work with. These ESEE knives really take a good edge. Of course, this is not Scandi. This is, I believe, they use a saber grind on their knives. Fire starter from Black and White. It's really hard to work with gloves. It is super cold out. So fire making doesn't have to be a great big ordeal. I mean, obviously prep is the #1 key. Finding materials, getting them together, and you guys know all this stuff. But what I wanted to show is that with a very small fire kit with the right items in it and a good blade, you can process very marginal wood and get a small fire going in case of an emergency. So if you don't have a big backpack or belt kit with you, you can, with your knife, if you have a proper kit with you, you can get stuff going. If all I had was my knife, that fire kit on my belt with my knife, I was able to collect some materials very quickly. Found some dry grass, Got some bark off this tree, found a couple limbs that were down and dry, semi-dry, broke those up, didn't have to use a saw or an axe, didn't have to have a very big elaborate fire kit, just what I showed you. And that little piece of material from Black and White Fire Starter, shaving that down, shaving down a piece of wood, getting some curls for the fire to catch, and then just feeding this fire and a little bit of blowing on it, and we're good to go. So alright, so that's it for the video. Really simple stuff. I just wanted to show what you're capable of doing, building a mini fire kit to go with your knife. I want to do more of these kind of quick videos in the future for you guys to show you just some little tips, tricks, things I'm working on. It's not particularly anything earth-shattering. This is all not new. This is not new information, but this is how I'm doing it. And I really like this laser strike because it kind of bridges the gap between the 4 and the 5. It's a little bit longer than the 4, and it's got that nice drop spear point to it. Just a fantastic blade shape. So, as always, please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Check out the Facebook group, it's getting big. Check out Instagram, extra photos and content on there. Check out the ESEE store. We got Prepared Wanderer patches and stickers, a couple different variants, so support the channel that way. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time on the Prepared Wanderer.